Okay, it did
The
work.
metal news.
Yeah. Okay, guys, probably the biggest piece of news here, Slipknot. We're this is what the entire topic is themed after today. Slipknot, potentially the most popular metal band on the planet right now, mysteriously decided to part ways with their keyboardist, Craig Jones. They just put up a message and said, he's no longer part of the band. We wish him the best. And then like 2 hours later, they deleted the message. So now nobody has any idea what's going on. Here's Craig, probably the creepiest of all the Slipknot masks. But then they featured a new mask, which everybody is assuming is the new member, which somehow is even creepier.
Oh, Craig's mask with all the spikes coming out looks like he's just trying to keep the seagulls from landing on his head. It is terrifying. But to be honest, it could be him behind both masks. I mean, you can't really tell.
Well, shoot, that's a really good point.
Maybe it's just a publicity stunt.
Craig is on the run. And he's like, hey, guys, I don't want to leave the band, but we got to say I'm out of here. And then I'll just put on a new mask.
Great idea.
Nobody will know. Everybody thinks I'm in Bermuda, but here I am. I'm still playing with the band. That's a great conspiracy theory. $500 to anybody that can confirm that theory. If anybody can confirm it, let us know. But anyway, Slipknot, they've actually gone through quite a few members. Not all of them have been voluntary turnover. Obviously, Joey Jordison, the drummer, passed away back in 21. But they've gone through, there's 9 of them. It's a huge band to begin with. And they've gone through a lot of different members. And it does beg the question, like, have they gotten better because of rotating people in and out? We will explore that a little bit more here in a little bit, but next news item that I want to get to, this is really interesting. I love this. I wish I could get these up on the side, but Cristina Scabbia or Scabbia, I'm not sure how she pronounces it, lead singer of Lacuna Coil. So she did an interview and with, I don't remember who it was with, but she was talking about women in metal, right? This is a big topic. We've talked about this before, and but she made some really, really good points. I just want to read one of them. So she said, I remember when it started, it would happen that I got a lot of looks just because a lot of people were surprised to see a woman on stage. I got a lot of people maybe screaming stupid stuff at the very beginning, but it didn't discourage me because I think the problem is not mine. The problem is in whoever just sees a woman that is in the wrong place for them. Right. So she's like, okay, yeah, she experienced some discrimination or, whatever. But then she goes on to say, she's like, what I always say is that it's a question of balance, being a woman in metal, because it is true that women are more judged on their looks. They have more attention if they're pretty. They are more judged if they put on an extra kilo and nobody cares if there's a singer that has a little bit of extra weight, according to the fact that what extra weight, that's another can of worms that we have to open. And then she says this, we can't deny that there is no good and only bad. In the end of all of it, I think that it's in people who think the wrong way, not really in being a woman in metal or stuff like that. I know a lot of guys that are just fully supportive of the metal scene. They get to look, my screen just loaded and it totally changed it. Anyway, she goes on to say, she's like, hey, listen, there's actually some real positives to being a woman because I can get more attention than a male singer can get just by using my femininity, right?
Free marketing. Free marketing.
Free marketing. And so, I think this is a thing that we miss. It's like when we say things like, we're just judging that person because she's attractive, or whatever. That's not inherently a bad thing, right? We do the same thing with men, by the way. It's like if a male is scrawny, we make fun of him Men want to look big like The Rock or something, big muscles and all this kind of stuff. So we judge men on looks too. And at the end of the day,
different set of standards. Yeah.
Absolutely. The particulars are different. But I think what Cristina was saying is like, hey, listen, everybody's got strengths. Everybody's got weaknesses. Use what you've got. Right. And I think it's huge because there's no question, like goodness gracious, I would say half of the bands that I listen to regularly are either female fronted or have a lot of females in the band. I mean, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
I love the Beauty and the Beast singing style, the feminine and the masculine together. Yep. That's so much better than just one or the other. So anyway, I was super excited to see Cristina Scabbia talk about it, and not in just like oh man, women need to be taken more seriously. She was like, no, I mean, there's strengths and weaknesses there, positives and negatives. It just is what it is. And that's where we're at. So super happy.
I think makes a lot of sense. There's often, and she also basically is like, look, I'm not going to define myself by the people that cause me problems, right? Or she's like, some people said bad things at first, but like, I don't care, right? It's like, I think you have to like, some people they play that so hard. It's like, oh, you're hating on me, and they try to use that to get the attention. I don't know. To me, it's like, let's focus on what you're doing, and what you are bringing, what the unique things you're bringing, whether that's unique to who you are or unique skill or what you look like, whatever it is,
It's a great point. I mean, there's always going to be stuff like we do it here on the show, right? We crap all over some bands that we don't like, but it's not because we don't want them to continue. It's just like, hey, maybe that's not our thing or whatever, right? So it's like there's always going to be people that don't like what you're doing. Don't let that stop you, right? Yeah. Which is, I think, exactly what you said. So, good on Cristina Scabbia. Everybody go out and buy some Lacuna Coil albums. Let's support her.
And that's why I put Tara leaving Nightwish on the cover and not Marco. Although Marco is very attention grabbing with his looks too. It was also too fresh, too hurt still.
Yes. It's true, Marco. But he's back. He's playing with Taro and one of his other side projects.
Okay. I haven't followed since then. It just was like tough.
It's
the best.
It's gonna be hard to go see Nightwish and not see Marco up there. It's true. Yeah. Well, so speaking of the future of metal, we got this guy's thoughts. James LaBrie. His shirt, I think, is LaBrie and Loge and LaBrie and Svgoli and Pulkkinen. I'm assuming maybe that's a side project he's working on. I don't know. But in an interview, James talked about what bands he felt were carrying the metal torch into the future. And so one of them he mentioned was Polyphia, Tim Henson and crew. And that one doesn't surprise me at all, because those guys, just like Animals as Leaders, those guys are doing some really experimental stuff, very technical stuff. It's really fun. It can be inaccessible at times, but I could totally see a progressive metal guy like James LaBrie being like Polyphia. That totally makes sense. But then he mentioned this other band that I've seen it around, but I've never really listened to them. It's called Architects. And this is a British, I've seen them described as like metalcore, but they get into a lot of different genres. But anyway, I had to look these guys up after reading this interview this week with James. And so I've got a quick clip. Let's check out Architects. This is a song called Animals.
We're just a bunch of fucking animals.
interesting.
Yes, I loved the dynamic shifts, and his voice is fantastic. High production quality. So I need to listen to more of these guys. If any of you guys listen to Architects, throw out where to start. I think they've been around since like the mid 2000s. But I don't know why James LaBrie would be saying that this is the future of metal based off of that one song. But I'm also very curious, and I like what I heard in that song. So
yeah, it's hard to tell, right? What with a clip, how much what their songwriting ability is, right? When you get a short clip.
right.
But it's interesting in the article, he said that I think he said his son turned him on to Architects.
Yeah.
And that's the like what is the next generation being attracted to, right? And
Yeah.
it is a huge part of, so like for him to say like this is what maybe why the future of metal. I don't know. That's a big statement from someone like Dream Theater's lead singer to make. There's two bands, future of metal.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a
The
great
article
point.
may have played it up a little bit in the headline. I don't know that he definitively said these are the two only bands.
No, it's true. I mean, maybe they were like, "What are
Yeah.
you listening to these days?" But
Yeah.
and then they presented it as like James LaBrie said these two bands. But that's a great point you make. Maybe what he's saying is like, "Hey, what are the upcoming generations interested in?" And that's very
Yeah.
different than being like, what is the next evolution of metal?
Right.
And so yeah, if that's and I could see that, if you look at the most popular metal bands out there, like Avenged Sevenfold, Slipknot, they're not in the tech, they're the progressive metal, the technical metal, the math metal, that's like not it, right? And so because you need like harmony and melody and which is why like bands like Polyphia are outliers. Animals as Leader is an outlier. I mean, instrumental progressive jazz metal. You're not going to hear that on the radio, except
No.
you kind of do now.